Okay, I think we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Are we live, Renee? Okay. This is the February 17th Oil and Gas Commission regular meeting. Welcome, everybody. My name is Jennifer Reeby. I'm the vice chair, but I will be presiding over the meeting today since we have a light crew here in person. We have Ray Hinchcliffe and Commissioner Lyden on Zoom. We will begin the meeting. Just as a reminder, we will not have any public comment today. This is for informational purposes only. We'll begin the meeting with a report from our division administrator, Shannon Collette, in the department report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Shannon Collette. I'm the Division Administrator for Minerals, Nav Waters, and Oil and Gas at Idaho. I'm also the Secretary to the Idaho Oil and Gas Conservation Commission. I'll now present the February 17, 2026 OGCC Department report, starting with the financial update. The financial reports included in your binders cover August 2025 through December 2025, or the most of the fiscal year of 2026 to date. Overall, the revenue for the oil program is up fiscal year 26, while expenses are flat. For the first 6 months of FY 26, we received $45,758 in severance taxes versus about $21,000 over the same period in FY 25. Application and permit fees totaled just over $10,000 versus just over $1,000 for the same period in fiscal year 25. The most recent monthly activity report for the month of December of 2025 shows a beginning cash balance of about $825,000 and an ending cash balance in December of 2025 of just over $792,000. On August 15th, an executive order from Governor Little cutting state agency general fund spending by 3%. And the recent Division Financial Management, or DFM, management request to agencies to reduce spending by an additional 3%. Overall, the oil and gas program is in good shape financially. I now stand for any questions about the financial update.
Are there any questions? Are there any questions? Commissioners? No? Okay, we will move on to the current and oil and gas activity report.
Okay. As of December 31st, 2025, 8 wells were reported as producing, 6 in Harmon Field and 2 in Willow Field. As required in statute, all wells and facilities were inspected during the calendar year. The monthly well production chart indicates the majority of 2025 production in Payette County has come from the Harmon Field. Daily production during December 2025 averaged about 8.6 MCF per day and 93 barrels of condensate per day and about 80 barrels of water per day. Additionally, the Highway 30 plant produced an average of 13,195 gallons of NGLs per day during that time frame. The Snake River Oil and Gas applied for and was granted a gas injection well treatment permit for the ML Investments number 2-10 in May of 2025. The treatment was not commenced as of today due to delays with the compressor unit and downhole conditions in the well. The operator is evaluating their options for proceeding with the treatment. The permit will expire May 28th, 2026, unless the operator requests a 6 months extension prior to that date. In August of 25, Snake River Oil and Gas attempted to reperforate the upper Willow Sand interval of the ML Investments 111 well, but was unsuccessful in establishing production from that sand. The well remains in inactive status under an individual well bond. Snake River Oil and Gas reports that the conversion of the DJS number 2-14 well to a Class 2 injection well remains on hold pending improved economic conditions. The permit expires December 19th of 2026, but can be extended upon application to EPA Region 10. Snake River Oil and Gas applied for a 400-acre spacing unit to include portions of Section 15 and 22, Township 8 North, Range 5 West, Payette County. The spacing order was granted September 30th of 2025, after which the operator applied for an integration order for the approved unit. The evidentiary hearing was held by the Office of Administrative Hearings in Fruitland City Hall, December 17th, 2025. A final order granting the integration was issued by myself on January 28th, 2026. Finally, in January of 26, Snake Oil, River and Gas submitted an application for permit to drill the James 110 in the Northwest Quarter Section 10, Township 8 North, Range 5 West, Fayette County. This permit was issued by the department on February 4th, 2026. The proposed 5,000-foot test is to be directionally drilled to test the Harmon sands from a location just south of the city of Fayette. Cascade Exploration LLC, a subsidiary of natural hydrogen exploration company called Coloma out of Denver, Colorado, has been very active in the Canyon County area of western Idaho. In preparation for drilling 2 stratigraphic well tests, Cascade applied for 2 spacing units approximately 1 mile apart in Canyon County in August of 25. An evidentiary hearing for docket number CC 2025 OGR-1003 was administered by the Idaho Office of Administrative Hearings and conducted in Napa on August 28, 2025. A final order was issued by myself on September 30th of 2025 for a 90-acre unit in Section 25, Township 5 North, Range 4 West. The second spacing unit request for a 40-acre unit in Section 26, Township 5 North, Range 4 West of Canyon County was issued without an evidentiary hearing as allowed under Title 47, Chapter 3, Idaho Code on September 30th, 2025. On September 12, 2025, the department approved a permit application from Cascade Exploration to conduct an approximately 47-mile 2D seismic survey in North Canyon County and a small portion of Fayette County. The seismic contractor Vantage Geophysical commenced acquisition of the program the week of October 19th and completed the survey in mid-November of 25. The total survey was shortened to 33 miles due to issues with permitting and setbacks. The department granted a permit to drill a 12,000-foot stratigraphic well test in Canyon County to Cascade Exploration November 7th of 25. The Twin Peaks number 1W, located approximately 2 miles northeast of Notice, spud the week of November 10th and reached a total depth of 11,445 feet on December 11th. The operator logged the well and completed additional testing over the next several weeks, then plugged and abandoned the well on December 27th of 2025. A final plugging report was filed with the department on January 2026. Other information for the well will be held confidential until December of 26. On November 25th, 2025, 8 staff from Idaho Department of Lands and the Oil and Gas Conservation Commission, Vice Chair Jennifer Reeby, attended a rig tour of the Twin Peaks number 1W drill site. Also attending were several state representatives for Southwest Idaho, along with various staff members from the governor's office and other Idaho state agencies. Employees from Cascade's parent company, Coloma, conducted the tour and were available to answer questions about the drilling operations and hydrogen exploration in Idaho. I now stand for any questions on current oil and gas activity.
That was a lot of information.
That was a ton.
Are there any questions?
Yes, Commissioner Reeby, I have one for Director Shillette or Secretary Shillette, or maybe James can answer this question. Do you know what Snake River's plans are for 111? Are they going to move forward with P&A in it, or do you know what their update on that is?
Commissioner Henscliff, I appreciate the question. I'm going to defer you to our technical expert, Mr. James Thumb, and he can provide some color on that.
I can't hear him very well. Can you repeat that, James?
Commissioner Hinchcliffe, we couldn't hear what well you were referring to.
It's the ML 111. Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you. The ML 111, they are still using that well. That was as part of the Class 2 injection permit for the DGS 214. EPA conditioned that permit on using the 111 as a monitoring well. So the department, although the well is inactive, we have it on an individual well bond, but the well bore is still basically active.
So the plugging deadline that passed in December is a moot point then right now.
Commissioner Hinchcliffe, we last year extended the plugging deadline to coincide with the plugging deadline for the Class 2 well. So both of those expire at the same time.
Okay,
The
December of
op-
this coming year. Okay, all right.
So yes, they can come back to us and request another extension that would coincide with the Class 2 well. But yes, we made those deadlines the same, just for easier reference for the operator.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
James, when is that deadline?
That is December 19th of 2026.
Okay. Are there any other questions, comments? No? Okay, moving right along, we'll move along to the consent items. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes? Have any suggestions or changes? No? If no changes, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes for the August 19th, 2025 minutes as presented.
Okay,
And I'll second the motion.
okay, motion's been made and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. We'll move now to the regular action item. I think we've read the materials. Do you want to talk about this at all? Would you like me to? Okay. So in the past, we've operated, or by statute, we have to have one meeting a year. And in the past, we've had 4 meetings a year, but there really has been so little oil and gas activity in the last couple of years. We haven't had any particular issues other than information. And so there is potential interest in shifting to fewer meetings, maybe twice a year. And the suggestion in the packet was April and November. Is that correct? So I guess
Yes,
I
I
would,
think, Commissioner Reby, I think it's April and October.
October. I remember April. So twice a year. Are there any comments or questions about that or concerns?
No, I don't have any concerns about it. Just, depending on how much activities there's going to be with Coloma and, that kind of their exploration program and drilling program. But I don't see any issue with doing it twice a year until that actually comes to fruition. There's more to activity.
Okay. I guess I had a question on seasonality. I know that with Snake River, they were planning to drill in the spring, and so their permit applications were in line with that. Does an April and October meeting, does that coincide with issues that might come up that we should deal with on a timely basis?
Madam Chair, I don't think so. James, do you see any problem with those 2 timeframes?
Commissioner Reby, no, we were actually looking at some other issues with the calendar as well. There are some May meetings that happen every year that we've had a conflict with in the past, and I know November is troublesome for everybody because it's close to Thanksgiving, so it's a tough time to travel. Snake River has indicated that their preference going forward is to drill in the warmer months, so probably over the summer. So I would think that having an October meeting might give us a chance to summarize, what they found by then. It should fit just fine. But yeah, as far as the April meeting goes, that's to try and get out of the way of some of the issues we've been having with May.
Okay, that makes
Right.
sense to me. So I guess I would entertain a motion if we wanted to change the meeting schedule.
Commissioner Reby, I think it's a good proposal, twice a year right now. And we can always have a special meeting if something arises that we need to meet. So this is something that we can be flexible with, but I think we also need to talk about not only the going to April and October, but would we now, our next meeting, since we're having one today, would there be a need to have one in April, or we just wait till October for our next meeting? What's everybody's thoughts on that?
Well, Commissioner Hincliffe, I tend to agree. with waiting until November, since we're having a meeting right now and there's not a lot of activity right now.
Okay, I would agree. Commissioner Reeve, you see any problem with, we'll not wait until October for our next meeting?
Yeah, I don't see a problem with that. I guess another alternative, would have a meeting scheduled in May, is that correct? So can we consider keeping the May meeting open in case there are any issues and then move to October and then twice a year from then on? Or is there any point in that, James or Shannon?
Commissioner Reeve, one of the issues, as I mentioned, is that we have the Interstate Oil and Gas Compact Commission meeting, and it happens to coincide with the date, I think it's May 18th, which is right in the middle of that meeting. So we would have to change that anyway if we did keep that. And there's always the possibility that if there is some activity that the commission could call a special meeting and just give proper notice so that the public's aware. But yeah, I don't know unless Secretary Shalet has any. I know that there's some executive staff meetings at IDL that he sometimes has some conflicts with. But yeah, it seems like we could just have that as as needed, a special meeting if something does come up at this point.
Okay. I think that's a good solution, and especially since several of our commissioners are remote or having to travel long distances. So is there any more discussion on that? Would anybody like to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion, Commissioner Reeve. I'll move that the Oil and Gas Conservation Commission adopt a twice a year meeting policy for the month of April and October. As proposed, we would meet on the second week of those months. And so our next scheduled meeting would be October 13th, 2026.
And I second the motion.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So we won't see you there until October. So the next item on our agenda is an informational session by Coloma. I'd like to introduce the next speaker, who's Bronson Barrett. Bronson currently works for Coloma. It's a Denver-based startup developing technology to locate and produce geologic hydrogen. Bronson has a Master's of Science in Global Energy Management from the University of Colorado and a business degree in Land Resource Management. He has 15 years of experience in the energy sector, mainly in oil and gas, and has been working for Coloma for about 18 months. It's his primary duty to oversee all of land responsibilities for the Rocky Mountain and Eastern regions in the U.S. Please welcome Bronson Barrett.
Thank you for having us. Is this on? Testing. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
How about now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
There we go. I'll just go ahead and hold it. Yeah, thank you for allowing us to come up here and give you guys an update as to what we have going on with regards to our operations that we have conducted and that we are looking forward to conduct this year. So I have a short presentation to walk us through what we have done and why we've conducted the operations we've done so far, and then ultimately what we're hoping that turns into. So to start off, we've done 2 separate operations to date. We've conducted a seismic program that you guys briefly touched on in your intro. It was around 40 miles in Canyon County, a little bit in Payette, and then we followed that up with a stratigraphic test well. The test well was solely for scientific purposes only, meaning we weren't intending to produce that well, and we did not produce that well. If you go to the next slide, there's a bit of an operational timeline that breaks down what we've done. So this breaks down the drilling process that we went through with the test well. But before we really kick this off, our operations out here or probably shouldn't call them operations. Our activity out here started about a year ago. We really kicked off by introducing ourselves to the community, starting a leasing program, and then starting to obtain the rights necessary to commence a seismic program. That took about 8 months to have everything in hand necessary to actually start building a pad location and entering into the permit process to get all the rights necessary at the state level to drill the well. Once we started drilling the well, this is about a 30-day process. Once we completed drilling that well, we ran pretty much every log you can imagine for a strat well. With this being, hydrogen exploration, we're really trying to pioneer this industry, and there's not a lot of information that we can lean into. So we're trying to collect and put together everything we possibly can to understand what's going on subsurface in this area and to figure out if there's any hydrogen prospectivity. The next slide briefly touches on our geologic objectives. It essentially restates what I said here. We're really trying to understand what is the stratigraphy, what is the lithology, what is the permeability, porosity, what is the heat subsurface? Is there any indicators that there is a hydrogen generating system? And there's really nothing to lean into out here. This is the deepest well that's been drilled in the area. So it's pretty exciting. My technical folks were pretty much on the edge of their seat with everything we were seeing. And ultimately what we did identify shows to be potentially promising and merits further exploration, which is why we are going to be continuing this year to expand upon the seismic program that we conducted last year. Go to the next slide. This is really just a snapshot of the couple, pieces of technology that go into drilling these wells to show how we delineate the lithology and really get a precision snapshot as to what the formations are subsurface, how thick they are, and what's happening within those systems, and ultimately figure out, is there a kitchen going on subsurface that shows to be producing hydrogen? This next slide really just leans into how are wells drilled. And one challenge is that there's really no easy way to differentiate between a rig drilling for hydrogen and a rig drilling for oil and gas. One thing that's beneficial for that is the oil and gas industry has a 100+ year track record of refining the technology and the safety measures to protect the subsurface and the environment. And we can lean into those learnings and understanding and implement those with our operations to make sure that everything we're doing is safe for both the community and the environment. So next slide touches on really what we're going to lean into this year. From an operations standpoint, we don't have any wells planned. That's not to say we won't ultimately end up permitting a well. If we do, it will very likely be towards the tail end of the year. But for the most part, we're going to be leaning into a large-scale 2D seismic program. Our initial program was right around 40 miles. This one, we're probably going to go up to 400 to 600 miles. It's going to likely span through 4 to 5 different counties, likely lean westerly into Oregon as well. So ultimately, we really just need to get a better understanding of the scope and scale of what's happening subsurface. And seismic gives us the ability to identify as to whether or not the structural formations are in place to allow for accumulation. So we're looking for traps, seals, anything that indicates that, gas will have the ability to accumulate in commercial quantities to give us a better ability to actually precision target where we want to develop. And that ultimately is the rundown as to where we're at. Definitely happy to answer any questions if you guys have any. And then also we have an open line of communication. If you guys ever have any questions, please feel free to reach out. We're here to be transparent and here to help.
Okay, are there any questions?
Yeah, Commissioner Reeve, I got one question can I call you Greg?
Name's Bronson.
Bronson.
Oh, Bronson. That says
You can call me Greg.
it says on the presentation Greg, and I didn't think that's what he said, but I better ask to make sure. So I'm sorry, sir.
Oh, you're fine.
From your presentation, it didn't show that you did any coring. Do you plan on doing coring in the future if you drill another well?
Very likely. We really, it's one of those kind of situations where we like to get an understanding as to what we're drilling through and if it merits taking core, but it most likely will be the case that we'll want to take core in some of the next wells we drill.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? I have a question. So your seismic activity was a good predictor of what you found, would you say?
The seismic validated where we were drilling. It actually would have moved us a little bit off where we were currently positioned. But that said, from a structural standpoint, it shows you where the folds are and where accumulation and traps are likely to be. So that's going to be the guiding indicator. So when we do a larger program, it's going to be more of a grid fashion where we did, 2 east-west lines, 1 north-south line. So it didn't give you a really robust understanding. It just kind of more validated where we targeted. And ultimately what we want to do is de-risk future development and have a more clear snapshot of the subsurface. And that's what the seismic will provide us.
And can you give us a hint as to what counties you're looking at? And are you going further north, further south, or more east-west, or do you know?
So we kind of put a bullseye when we were first looking. So it probably is going to mostly trend north and east from there. That's also, driven by density of population and kind of urban pockets. As you have to start to head southeast from where we're at, it's a lot more challenging to drill. So more likely going to be heading north up towards Payette. There's a very, small clip that goes into Ada and Jim County, and then also heading west towards Oregon. But that central, spot where we're at, just northeast of the notice, is likely going to be kind of the core spot for where we're targeting at the moment.
Excellent. Are there any other questions? No more questions. Thank you very much.
I have a flight, so I actually have to.
You went?
I have to head to a flight, so I'm heading out
Oh,
here, so I can't catch up
fine.
after,
Yeah,
but-
that's fine.
Yep.
Okay, I think those are the items on our agenda. I would like to mention that I did speak with Commissioner Haas today, and he told me that his health is improving and he's feeling much better and expected to be here today, and unfortunately got pulled away at the last minute to another emergency test. But he's planning to be more active on the commission in the future and is looking forward to that. Okay, if there are no further comments or questions, I think we'll adjourn.
Commissioner Reby,
Yes.
we probably need to have a motion to adjourn.
Oh, well, some boards I want to do and some don't. Would you like to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
And I'll second the motion.
Okay, motion's been made in second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are
Thank you.
adjourned.
Thank you, Commissioner
Thank-
Reedy, for chairing the meeting.
Thank you.